Good afternoon. We're here at the 68th Annual AHCA NCAL Convention in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Provider Lounge. We have Gerald Hamilton here with RNG Healthcare Management. Gerald has multi-assisted living facilities in New Mexico.
New Mexico and Nevada.
And we're so interested in how all the changes, the regulatory and reimbursement in the skilled sector is affecting your business positively, negatively, and what have you been doing?
Well, we're seeing, like we saw years ago in the nursing home business, acuity being pushed down to our level, just like it did years ago in the nursing home business. And so we're seeing people that are sicker with more needs that are coming to assisted living. They're much more informed consumers, and so they're making conscious choices. We have 80, 85-year-old potential residents come to us often that have done some research on us and other assisted living facilities on the internet before they come in to see us. And so they're much more informed than they have been in the past. They know what they want, and they know the setting that they want to receive their care in. And so that's driving some changes for us that we need to respond to. And the reimbursement, the regulatory changes at the SNF level are driving people to us and forcing us to look at partnerships. The states that I'm in, ACOs are not very prevalent yet, but they're going to come our way, and we need to be ready for that when it happens and be able to form strategic partnerships and give those partners the data that they need to make choices about whether they want to partner with me or another provider, and how they can gauge which provider is best for them to join with.
My experience has been vastly in skilled nursing sector and a hospital. The assisted living, what I found out about 5 years ago, when I started to research it, is that every state has different rules.
Yeah.
So from New Mexico to Nevada, are the assisted living rules different, or is there anything different about them?
Oh, they are.
They are?
They are. And it costs me more generally to do business in Nevada because of the regulations here require some different things. Just a couple of things that come to mind between Nevada and New Mexico is we've got to do some different things with background checks, tuberculosis screening for our employees, training for our employees is a little bit more stringent here in Nevada. So each state's a little bit different, but I think that's the beauty of assisted living. I'm on the NCAL board of directors, and one thing that we're really concerned with is make sure that we keep regulation in our sector at the state level. And I think one reason that that's really important is because that drives ingenuity, new ideas, because we see different states doing different things to respond to the needs. And if things work really well, or if there's a great idea in one state, we like to be able to transfer that to our state if we can. And with a federal regulatory model, that would be difficult, if not impossible to do, to take advantage of innovation that way.
That is incredibly powerful, because I've asked a lot of individuals in the assisted living sector, explain to me what the value would be. No one has ever said it that eloquently. That, I like that. If so, different states have the platform or the canvas to be creative and innovative, and you can learn from the other states so that you're not confined to a federal oversight. That would be, probably adaptability would not occur.
Right. Well, and we have the opportunity to be much more collaborative on a state-to-state level with our regulators, where if we had that umbrella of federal regulations, we wouldn't have that ability or that flexibility. And I think that's driven some great ideas. Oregon is an example of a collaborative effort that's just gone on between the regulators and the people in the sector about how to drive quality and how to measure quality. And that would not be able to happen if there was an overarching or restrictive federal regulatory structure.
And so some owners I've spoken to, they actually said that if assisted living, and again from the SNF perspective, the skilled nursing facility, if they regulated the assisted living continuum, that it would negatively affect, would it negatively affect the census in the skilled nursing sector? I don't know the answer.
I don't know. I think even if we were to experience federal regulation, it would be much less restricted than it is in the nursing facilities. And so I think under that scenario, it would be quite a while before we saw the flow of residents slow down from acute or skilled nursing to our field in assisted living.
So I started in long-term care in the early 90s, and of course the patient population has dramatically changed from they go home, a large percentage of the patients are going home. The length of stay is 21.3 days versus back then maybe 34 days or even higher. Do you see a different type of patient in assisted living today than you did 20 years ago? Or are they the same?
We do. We see them quicker, out of the hospital or out of the nursing home quicker and sicker. I think the reimbursement environment is driving that, and I think people's choices are driving that too. It's not unusual anymore for somebody to come from an acute stay directly to assisted living.
Really?
And most states in the regulations have an understanding that in assisted living people can come and stay and age in place. And so, for example, in my facilities, my communities, most of the residents that leave us when they pass away. So they come to us at one level functioning, they start to decline, we bring in resources from outside to meet their needs if we're not able to under our license, and they stay with us until they pass away. And that's a real draw, I think, to our setting, because people generally understand if they're pleased with the level of care, the care they're getting, and they like our setting, they can stay there, and they're never going to have to go somewhere else.
Okay, so I've got a couple questions on that. Is your occupancy up or down? Up?
At my communities, it's up. We generally, mine again are small, 15 rooms in each of my communities, and we generally run between 95 and 100% occupied all the time.
And I read somewhere that the length of stay for the assisted living customer is about 2.5 years. Does that resonate with your community or from what you know nationally?
That's pretty close to what we see. We've had residents that, obviously somebody that comes to us is very sick and they're on hospice. They may last a couple of weeks to a couple of months, but we've had residents come and stay with us for 4 and 5 years. And so on average, a little over 2 years, I think is a pretty good number.
So in my world, in my head, as an occupational therapist, I don't know how to quantify that. So say if you took out the hospice or the patients that are, terminally or expected, is 2.5, if it's maybe it's not 2.5, maybe the average, maybe that number is longer.
Maybe 3.5 years.
3.5. Yeah. What is the reason why they would leave that setting?
Why they would leave?
Yes. Where would they go? The demographic of
like I said earlier, most of the residents that leave my communities leave when they pass away.
They do.
Although it's not unusual to have someone that has a sudden incident, a stroke or a TIA or something, and they'll go and have a hospital stay, perhaps a rehab stay. But almost always the customers that I've known, if they end up in the hospital because of a situation like that, they want to go back home. And for them, going back home means to my facility, my community.
No, that's great. And I guess my last question is, again, understanding that space, and by the way, the differentiate is state to state. What types of services can you provide for the viewers in an assisted living in those two states? So does home care come in? Does therapy come in? Do they bill under Part B, Part A, or managed care? How does it happen?
Sure. Generally, we provide ADL assistance only. That includes managing their medications, showering, dressing, bathing, assistance with their meals. We prepare their meals for them. If they require anything more than that, specifically any kind of skilled nursing service, we can't provide that under our license, but we make arrangements with a home health or a hospice agency to bring in one of their people that can provide that service in our community. And so it's not unusual anymore to have home health come in and treat a resident for some skilled nursing services, but also for some OT or some physical therapy to deal with a decline or a post-fall, post-incident kind of thing, and they can rehab them back to their former level in our setting.
That's great.
Without having them go to a skilled facility or a hospital.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, our time is up, and we thank you for coming and learning about the assisted living and aging in place and the market and how it's changing and the influences. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Right.
it.